Ngami in the School of Public Health at Moi University in Kenya, as well as Dr. Jabel Belkiria, who is the Global Africa Liaison for the One Health Workforce Next Generation Project, and is based at University of California, Davis. So I'm going to invite them to take us through this process. Professor Ngami and Jabel, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Millie, and welcome everyone. Hello, Professor Mabe.
Thank you, Millie, and my co-host, Jaber. Welcome, everyone, to this wonderful meeting. We look forward to having a lot of fun as well as learning. I would like us to start off by some basic introductions on the session. This is the first session of the day, and it's the welcome session where we are going to have keynote speakers give us their opening remarks for the day and for the program. And we have 4 keynote speakers. We are going to introduce each one of them in turn as they speak. Okay? We can confirm that they are in. Professor William Bazeyo.
Speaking.
Thank you. Professor Wambura,
Yes,
just to be sure.
I'm speaking.
Thank you. And then Watrina and Leslie. All right. Thank you very much. So allow me to take this opportunity to indicate that our key speakers will have about 3 minutes to make their opening remarks for this session because we really want to manage time. So we apologize, it's a short time, but please bear with us. Allow me to then start off by introducing our first speaker, who is Professor William Bazeyo. Professor Bazeyo is a full professor in his own right. He has risen to the ranks of DVC, Deputy Vice Chancellor at Makerere University, and recently he also got a honorary doctorate from Tufts University, which has been a member or part of the DENO share. Professor Bazeyo is our founder chair, and currently he's the CEO of AFROHUN. Professor, a warm welcome to you to give us your opening remarks. Thank you.
So you want me there?
Does everybody see me? Those who
Yes,
don't
we can perfectly see you.
Our dear guests that are attending this show for the first time, our consortium members in the UC Davis, USAID, Washington, and the US missions that are attending from the different countries that AFROHUN is based, the chair of the board of AFROHUN and members of the board, my deputy, Professor Kabasa, attending, my colleagues and partners for AFROHUN in the Tufts Consortium, led by the director, Professor Deborah Kochiva, members of AFROHUN in all your countries, country managers, administration staff, the secretariat led by Dr. Irene Naigaga. Ladies and gentlemen, the MC said 3 minutes, but I want to use 2 minutes so that we give time those who are going to present the show. I welcome everyone this showcase. This is the second of its kind since we started One Health Workforce Next Gen. And also I welcome you to the celebration of our anniversary as AFROHUN, since we were babies and we were renamed AFROHUN. I hope we are going to have a cake, and those of you who are very far, I hope you'll join us by celebrating and clapping. I'd like to thank USAID in a special way for continuing to support AFROHUN in its activities, not only through Next Gen, but also a newly awarded project in which a new consortium joined AFROHUN, led by Tufts University. And as I said, the director, and I wish she could do, I would ask her to say hello to us, just hello, Professor Deborah Kochiva. When I finish speaking, I will ask her to greet the people. I'd like to thank USAID for continuing to support the countries that AFROHUN is working in, especially the missions in those countries, which we appreciate sincerely for guiding and helping our other universities that are in those countries. Since UC Davis came on board, we agreed with them to have a showcase of the achievements of AFROHUN every year. This is our second time, and I believe that being the second time, we will see a lot more and even hear more from the countries. The showcase brings together most of the silent achievements from the countries. And I want to welcome our students, our country managers, and our teams in the countries who have prepared in the whole year to come and show us a bit of what they have done, so that we see and we gauge our impact. On this same day, I'd like to introduce to the network and everybody our new director for the academy, which we were talking about during the time when we had the first showcase. We now have an academy with staff, and we have Professor David Kabasa, who was appointed by the board as the director of the academy, and I'm sure he will speak to the academy when his turn comes. I'd like to welcome in a special way Tufts University and its consortium for the new project that we brought on board called Stop Spillover Project. This is a project that will work in 5 countries. A lot of more details will be shown in the break. There will be slides running that you can read. But it comes in at a time when we needed it. We are looking at COVID in all the countries, but when it comes in, it is going to help us and help the countries to project, to be able to predict what could be dangerous from the animals, the zoonotic area and other areas to man. It has a focus on 5 countries, as I said: Uganda, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Cameroon, and Cote d'Ivoire. Currently, we have established this project in 2 countries, Uganda and Liberia, and we are moving on to establish the others. I'd like to thank Professor Deborah Kochiva, who was a board member and who is now the director of that program, and for all that she has brought on the table as in part of the partnership. As I welcome you, I leave most of the words for the chair of the board to welcome and give us a warm, a word of encouragement and a word of from his own words. I don't want to predict what he's going to say. I want to stop there, but thank all the country teams that have put in their efforts to prepare for this day, and we will see them in the show. I want to thank the Secretariat sincerely for the time they have put in. A lot of work has been put in. I want to thank Irene and your team sincerely for the work we have put in to prepare for this show. And lastly, I want to thank our director in UC Davis. Despite being on leave, having had a baby, she has continued to support this program and this show. Thank you very much, Professor Otrina and your team. Now, I leave the rest to the chairperson of the board, Professor Wambura, but before that, I want to ask Professor Kochiva to greet the people, and then Professor Wambura will come in to officially open the showcase. Thank you very much. Professor Kochiva. Professor Kochiva, can you greet the people? Oh, she's not there, I don't see her. Oh, please, Professor Kochiva.
She's there, but I don't know if she's still muted.
Okay. Professor Wambura, you could come on and maybe you'll invite her to greet the people when you are finishing.
Yes, Professor Philomen Wambura, the board chair. Your turn, please.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. Madame Messier, bonjour et bienvenue. I would like to thank you, all of you, for joining us for this show. It is an honor for us to be hosting you for the next 3 hours. I would like to thank you, the partners we work with, on the work that we are showcasing today. The support we have enjoyed from One Health Workforce, Next Generation Project, Global Team, and other partners is enabling us to create change in the lives of so many people. Professor Trina Smith and your team, we do value the technical and other support that you provide through this partnership. The result of this partnership is what the countries are about to share with us today. What we are about to witness today is simply a fraction of the many activities we are engaged in. In spite of the restrictions imposed to curb the COVID-19 spread in all countries, we have been able to reorganize ourselves and deliver as expected. I therefore thank the country teams for the incredible work done. I thank the secretariat by Professor William Bazeo for all the support provided. The theme for this year showcase is extremely important for us as a network. Working through partnership and collaboration is a cost-effective way for us to go about our business as we expand, covering the entire continent of Africa. Establishment of the AFROHUN One Health Workforce Academy is one area where we are working to develop strong partnerships with the public and the private sectors. Allow me at this time to thank USAID for the funding that we receive, both in One Health Workforce Next Generation Project and the Stop Spillover Project, which are funded by USAID. Well, this support is very much valued and has contributed greatly to strengthen our network. So at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for your presence at this showcase, and I wish you all the best as we proceed with our showcase. And I'm pronouncing now that officially the showcase is open. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, professeur William et professeur Philemon. Je vais parler en français pour introduire maintenant notre cher professeur Watrina Smith, qui est la directrice du projet One Health Workforce Next Generation. Donc, sans trop tarder, je vous invite à parler. À vous la parole, professeur Watrina.
Thanks, Jaber. I just want to add my warm welcome for everybody. It's wonderful to be together. We have folks, over 140 people logged on from all over the world, and that really speaks to our hope to create a global network of One Health professionals. So it's very good to be here, to be able to hear the success stories and what's been happening on the ground in the various countries. I think that's often my favorite part of these showcases, is to hear those stories and to be able to move forward together. So we do really look forward to the progress and the plans for the coming year as we work together to adapt to new training needs, to continue to battle COVID-19 and other emerging issues that really need a One Health approach that can work across sectors, work across disciplines, bring together teams that have different areas of expertise, but are also able to work well in addressing both the scientific and social aspects of these important problems. So I will keep my remarks very brief so we can move forward and hear the stories, but I will pass on to hear from our colleague at USAID, Marilyn Crane, for her welcome remarks in just a moment. Thanks everyone for being together. Thanks for all the work you're doing.
Merci beaucoup, professeur Watrina. Sans trop tarder, donc nous passons la parole à notre chère Marilyn Crane, qui est notre Senior International Higher Education Advisor dans le bureau du Global Health à USAID. À vous la parole.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to make a few remarks. We're starting year 3 of the One Health Workforce Next Gen project, and year 2, I should say, just looking back, has been very challenging, but AFROHUN and its country chapters have more than risen to the occasion. I'm so excited to see and learn more about just a select number of the achievements that AFROHUN has accomplished over the past year. It's really exciting to see the network grow. You know, it's had to change how it does business in all kinds of ways, from embracing working remotely to conducting activities virtually, to figuring out how to safely conduct some in-person activities. It's meant a year of kind of flying by the seat of your pants, like, okay, how are we going to do this and make these adjustments? But it's also been a year where AFROHUN has really embraced developing its organizational capacity. And I think, you know, there is a lot that AFROHUN is doing right that other organizations can learn from. And I hope that all of you will remain as impressed as I am at what has been accomplished. I feel that AFROHUN is really starting to make an impact on the future workforce and the students, but also in the in-service. And so I eagerly await these presentations. And again, thank you so much for your kind invitation for these remarks. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Marilyn. Nous vous remercions, chers participants. Nous allons passer maintenant à la présentation de chaque pays de AFROHUN. Donc, chaque pays aura 5 minutes pour présenter les highlights de leur année 2, surtout basé sur la collaboration, le partnership, la formation avec les étudiants et les jeunes. Je sais que 5 minutes, c'est un peu. Chaque pays pourra parler pendant des heures, mais nous vous offrons aussi la possibilité de leur poser des questions via le chat. Donc, les premiers pays à présenter seront le Kenya, l'RDC, la Côte d'Ivoire, la Tanzanie, le Rwanda. Par la suite, nous allons passer au Cameroun, Ouganda, Éthiopie et le Sénégal. Donc, professeur Mabel, je vous passe la parole.
Okay, good afternoon once again. We would like to start our country presentations, and As my colleague has said, we are going to start with Kenya, and I want to take this opportunity to warmly welcome the presenters to adhere to the time. The presenter for Kenya is Mr. Samuel Wanjohi, who is also the country manager.
Great. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Do I have the screen share?
Yes, somebody should be sharing that right away.
Okay, let me just go ahead and share my screen. Okay, great. So I hope it is visible. Members, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished members of this plenary, I want to welcome you to the AFROHUN Kenya Year 2 Showcase presentation, focusing on enhancing capacity building through partnerships and collaborations. My name is Sam Wanjohi, the AFROHUN Kenya country manager. Now, various authors and influential persons have spoken extensively about partnership and collaboration, as you can see here. Of all these quotes, I just want to highlight what Satoru says, and I quote, "Individually, we are one drop, but together we are an ocean." Now, I want us to keep that in mind as we go through this presentation, that individually we are one drop, but together we are an ocean. Based on the need for partnership and collaboration as advocated by the USAID mission, the One Health Workforce Next Gen Consortium, and the AFROHUN Strategic Direction, AFROHUN Kenya engaged in partnership and collaborations at various levels, including with government, GHSA and other partners, and the community. From these partnerships and collaborations, AFROHUN Kenya was able to realize co-development of activities for value maximization and sustainability. Students got applied learning experience, the community benefited from the joint implementation of interventions, and the human resource capacity for the government was improved through the development of the One Health workforce. So now let us look at some of these, let us look at some of these illustrations and engagements more closely. Through interactions with the government at the subnational level, we were able to train policymakers, including members of the County Assembly, on One Health, and this led to the identification of and the agreement on priority One Health action areas, as well as the securing of County Assembly leadership for commitment for action. We also engaged with GHSA and other partners, following which stakeholders identified areas of collaboration with AFROHUN Kenya, and the combination of knowledge from different fields and stakeholders led to the development of a short course for frontline workers on pandemic preparedness and response, which will contribute to workforce development. Now, these engagements with AFROHUN Kenya were well appreciated, as indicated by what was said by one of the participants, and I quote, "On behalf of myself and the Kenya Red Cross Society, I take this opportunity to pass our gratitude for allowing us to participate in such a remarkable activity. The success of this ground-setting agenda will not only be a success for AFROHUN, but for all of us in the entirety. May our efforts be fruitful for all the One Health generations." Now, that is what one stakeholder said. The final illustration that I want to show is our engagement with the community. Now, to achieve effective engagement, we had to undertake the community entry process. As you shall see from this short clip that is going to play now, the process that helps in securing and sustaining community interest, gaining community leader support, and establishing good working relationship, like you can see from this clip. Now, the community entry process. Yes. Now that is a short clip of the community entry process, a process that takes into consideration the cultural approach. Now, the activity we were undertaking was done in the Maasai community, and that dance was an invitation for the team to cross the floor. And when they crossed the floor and joined the dance, it was an acceptance, a sign of accepting the invitation to engage with the community. So we got that community entry, and we proceeded to undertake our activity. And at the conclusion of the entry process, the students were able to reach and engage with 375 people during the identification of complex One Health challenges. and the co-development of interventions. And 76 members of the community were also sensitized on COVID-19 using the local language. At the conclusion of the activity, our students were grateful for the experience, as can be shown by this sample of what one said, and I quote, "Working with the community to closely identify One Health problems and come up with solutions proved to be beneficial to us and the community. The community embracing the interventions was very encouraging. For instance, in one of the problems identified, one of the community members said, 'We will contribute and buy dewormers for our dogs and also spread word to other manyatas in order to curb the disease.' It was all a success due to all who took part, and a special appreciation to everyone who worked tirelessly to organize this." So that is what one of our students said. Now, from the community, we also got insights indicating that following proposed interventions, the community has engaged in collaborative efforts for dog deworming to manage cirrhosis, improved sanitation and hygiene in manyatas, reduction of open defecation through improved use of latrines, and they are undertaking a process of establishing a veterinary laboratory, the process of which has already been initiated. So now those were insights from the communities. All said and done, our engagements on partnerships and collaborations weren't devoid of challenges, including some of the following: the impact of COVID-19, which was felt by partners. A partnership we had secured for the students couldn't take place as the partner who was supposed to facilitate the entire process paused or took a stop after experiencing negative economic effects of the COVID-19 that affected the company's bottom line. And we also had budgetary constraints and limitations. For example, in that student activity, community engagement activity, we had 157 student applicants, of which we could only support 20 students. Now, that is one area that the partners in this forum would actually consider engaging with AFROHUN in, so that we can be able to get more students undertaking the processes and activities. Finally, we couldn't have done this without all these partners and collaborators listed here, amongst many others. I just want to highlight the USAID, the One Health Workforce Next Gen Consortium led by the University of California, Davis, GHSA partners, and all these University of Nairobi, Moi University, the Government of Kenya, ministries, departments, and agencies, and all these partners that are listed here, amongst others. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for giving me a hearing. I want to make my submission for AFROHUN Kenya. To all of you, I say asanteni sana.
Karibu sana. Merci beaucoup, notre cher Sam, pour cette présentation. Si vous avez des questions, n'hésitez pas. Sam est sur le chat et sera heureux de répondre à vos questions. Je voudrais passer la parole maintenant à notre cher AFROHUN Country Manager de la République démocratique du Congo, Dr Marc Yamba, qui sera heureux de présenter sur les activités en RDC. À vous la parole, cher Marc.
Merci beaucoup, Jaber. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be presenting today what AFROHUN DRC has achieved. Can the Secretariat or can please share the screen, or can I do it from my side? So AFROHUN DRC implemented in year 2 a lot of activities like training for students, training territory administrators, and many other activities. But as it is an opportunity for us to showcase what we have done, so we tried to look which activity to share with all of you good people who are giving us this opportunity to share. So we will be talking about partnership in the development of the National One Health Strategic Plan. I'm Mark Yamba, and I'm the DRC Country Manager for AFROHUN. You can, as our outline will be, as you can see, we'll start by the context and then end up with some lessons learned during this partnership and collaboration engagement. And this will help us to talk about the development of the One Health Strategic Plan for DRC. As we all know, DRC is one of the countries at risk of infectious disease outbreaks, and mostly coming from zoonotic diseases. Actually, we are facing the 13 Ebola outbreak, and then since 1976. So the implementation of One Health activities started since 2011 with support from OSHEA, actually AFROHUN, to improve multi-sectoral collaboration. A national One Health platform was created since 2011 with representatives coming from different line ministries, and many activities have been implemented since then. And one of them is the workforce assessment conducted in 2018. So since 2012, the need to develop a One Health strategic plan has been articulated. In 2020, the National One Health platform requested support from AFROHUN to restart the One Health strategic plan development process. And then we planned this activity under year 2 as one of our major activities. Consultants were onboarded to draft the plan after collecting information from ministries and partners. The draft of the plan was developed and shared with all the stakeholders and partners, both from the government side and private partners. The process was as following. First of all, consultants collected information coming from different stakeholders involved in One Health in DRC and creating a document review to see the situation of One Health in the country from January to April 2021. And then the draft developed was shared with partners to have their review and comments. And then early August, we had the validation workshop with all the partners. As you can see, this is the validation workshop. We had more than 30 participants. This was an online and in-person activity where people coming from different ministries participated and they were engaged in the discussions. We also had partners like FAO, Africa Region, WHO Africa Region and country offices, and many other partners such as CDC. What have we benefited from this collaboration and partnership? First of all, under the leadership of the National One Health platform. And we benefited from this partnership. For example, FAO reviewed the draft of the plan developed by consultants and improved the zoonotic disease surveillance and control components. It was the same with Breakthrough Action, which is the Center for Communication of Johns Hopkins University, which reviewed the draft of the document and improved the risk communication and community engagement components. So at the end of the day, we had the National Strategic Plan 21-27. So we wanted to share with you voice from the participants. First of all, this is a key document to leverage multi-sectoral collaboration for successful implementation of the international health regulation in the country. This was said by Dr. Dedendungi, the National One Health the national HAR focal points. And we also add the quote from Dr. Serge Zetieng from FAO. We say this document will be key for implementation of One Health in the country. As said earlier, this process was led by the National One Health platform. This is the quote from Professor Nadej Ngombe, who is the coordinator of the National One Health platform. This plan will guide implementation of One Health in the country and improve multi-sectoral collaboration. During this process, all the stakeholders were working at the human-animal interface were involved. Thanks to all the partners for supporting this process. Slide, please. So what lessons have we learned? We have seen that each partner engaged in this process provided added value to the development of the plan. And it was for us very important to engage partners at the planning phase to ensure support, buy-in, and ownership of the document during implementation. The process produced a strategic plan that addressed national One Health issues as well, due to the different perspectives brought on board by the partnership. There was efficient use of resources by the various partners involved in this activity, as everyone brought on board only what was necessary. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for this opportunity given to us to present. As I said, this was not the only one activity implemented by AFROHUN DRC. This, ending with this picture taken from the field with students after their field demonstration activity. Thank you very much for your time and for your attention.
Merci beaucoup, cher docteur Marc. Et juste pour info, Marc était sur la photo à la fin, au milieu. J'espère que vous avez des questions pour Marc. Allez-y sur le chat et n'hésitez pas à poser vos questions. Marc sera là pour y répondre. Sans trop tarder, nous allons passer à la présentation de la Côte d'Ivoire avec notre cher country manager, AFROHUN country manager de la Côte d'Ivoire, Donc, à vous la parole, Dr Monique Kouassi. Monique, vous êtes avec nous? Je pense que votre micro est en off.
OK. Excusez-moi. Bonjour à tous. Notre présentation a pour thème installation de AFROHUN Côte d'Ivoire, partenariat et collaboration. Depuis août 2020, AFROHUN, l'Université Félix Houphouët-Boigny d'Abidjan est membre du réseau AFROHUN et bénéficie du projet One Health Workforce Next Generation financé par USAID, dont les activités ont démarré en mars 2021 par des rencontres avec les parties prenantes. Pour son installation, un bureau a été octroyé à titre gracieux par la présidence de l'université. Ce bureau a été aménagé et fonctionnel à 100% à ce jour. Les activités ont commencé avec un atelier avec les parties prenantes et la qualité des participants ont permis d'identifier des activités prioritaires pour le pays et ainsi, toutes les activités planifiées pour l'année 2 ont été réalisées. Nous allons nous présenter un peu en images les activités.
À travers l'Université Félix Houphouët-Boigny, a intégré AFROHUN depuis donc, le mois d'août 2020. Et dans la lancée, nous avons participé à la deuxième année des activités de AFROHUN. C'est pour nous une opportunité que nous avons saisie après le corps parce que nous avons vu à travers le concept Une seule santé, une manière d'améliorer notre activité par rapport à la prise en charge des soins de santé primaire au niveau de notre pays. L'implication de l'Université Félix Houphouët-Boigny est donc bienvenue maintenant, dans cette période aussi, pour que nous puissions le faire. Et avec les activités qui ont été menées, nous avons vu qu'avec AFROHUN et le concept Une seule santé, nous avons la possibilité de faire des programmes qui vont s'intéresser à plusieurs choses à la fois, non seulement au genre humain, mais aussi au genre animal et à l'environnement en général. Et cela est très important pour nous, parce que nous avons constaté qu'il y a un cloisonnement au niveau de notre prise en charge. Il y a les médecins de la santé humaine qui ne s'occupent que de l'humain, les vétérinaires qui ne s'occupent que de l'animal, et tous ceux qui s'occupent de l'environnement aussi sont de leur côté. En réalité, tous ces éléments sont intégrés. Et voilà ce que je retiens un peu de ce concept Une seule santé qui est venu nous réveiller, je le pense tous, pour comprendre que nous ne vivons pas seuls en tant qu'êtres humains et que nous vivons dans quelque chose, dans un environnement qui est pour tous et que nous tous sommes intégrés les uns aux autres.
À cela, nous pensons que nous avons retenu 2 leçons apprises L'implication du doyen et l'appropriation du projet par l'université a eu un impact réel sur les activités, ainsi que la collaboration avec les différents ministères. Aussi, pour conclure, nous pouvons dire que la Côte d'Ivoire comprend 6 universités pour le moment et nous espérons que d'autres universités pourront rejoindre le réseau. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, Monique. Vous nous avez fait vivre la Côte d'Ivoire avec votre vidéo et avec votre présentation. Donc, je vous passe la parole, chère prof Mabel.
Thank you very much, Côte d'Ivoire, for your wonderful presentation. Thank you, and thank you for keeping time. Colleagues, we now welcome another country from East Africa, Tanzania, and I would like to request the presenter, Dr. Diodetas Kakoko, to please present for the country. A warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present from the perspective of Tanzania. And I'm going to present on behalf of Japhet Greo, who is the country manager. And our showcase for this year, for year 2, is on student services and learning model. Next slide. Yeah, AFROHUN Tanzania mainly consists of 2 universities, that's MUHAS and SUA, and we have other partner universities as well as other key sectoral ministries in the country, including the Prime Minister's office. And this is the students' learning model, whereby it's an approach of engaging students in One Health interventions to provide services while at the same time gaining experience. And this is key to our showcase in this year. And this has been continuously done for 3 different years, 2011, 18, and 21, where 50 students have been engaged in the fieldwork, and the focus has always been on rabies vaccination. And the large number, there has been huge achievements where in the first year, 2000, the other year was 80,000. And this year we had 1,320 dogs. And this year we also included cats, which were 238. Next. Now, student service learning model provides students with the One Health learning opportunities that include key issues of One Health, key competencies, which is collaboration, communication, and coordination. We see it necessary for the students to practice these competencies, and students also learn how to assess the coverage of vaccination, which is also a necessary competence where students can learn to assess what they have performed. And this is a multidisciplinary activity of students from different institutions. And for this year, we had a campaign launch that involved the district authority, and where the vaccines were handed over to the district commissioner by FAO, but also biosafety materials such as gloves, gumboots, and the others were handed over to the students and staff ready for the fieldwork. And this campaign, who implemented the campaign, here we had the students from Sokoine University who are vet students, and their main task was vaccinating dogs and cats, but also human health students interviewed dog and cat owners, but also interviewing residents about their perceptions on rabies to also do evaluation. And why do we consider this model to be important and sustainable? First of all, we have a support from various stakeholders. WHO were in the field, FAO were in the field, Ifakara Health Institute were in the institute, management development of health were also in the field. So all of these collaborated. But also we have materials and financial support from the Prime Minister's office and the other key ministries, as well as universities being ready to release the students during their vacation. So the institutions are willing, but also the government of Tanzania is in the process of manufacturing rabies and other vaccines locally. So it's likely to be sustainable as far as it's concerned, and the government has an interest in that because it's the way of sustaining human resource deficit in the country. Now with this, we have publications. Already we published one paper for the 2018 campaign, but also this year we have one manuscript on perceptions of community members on rabies vaccination in Kisarawe. Of these, we are going to have also other publications. And we wish to thank key stakeholders, WHO, FAO, Vice President Office, Prime Minister's Office, PO LAG, which is President's Office, Local Government Authority, One Health Coordination Desk in the Prime Minister's Office, Minister of Health, Minister of Livestock, as well as the Fakara Health Institute. All of these made the contribution, the good part. Everybody participated in the feed, so it was a feed involving many people. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Tanzania, for very wonderful presentation and showing us how to really get down and dirty working with students and getting the work done. Colleagues, I want to extend my welcome to another country within the Eastern region, Rwanda. And the presenter for the Rwanda experiences for year 2 is Dr. Juvenal Kagarama, who is also the country manager. Welcome, Juvenal.
Prof. Kagarama. You're muted.
I beg your pardon, yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. This is my slide. I'm Dr. Kagarama Juvenal. I'm country manager, Rwanda. I am honored to present one of the activities that we implemented in 2021. We presented a number of activities in 2021, and this is just one of them, antimicrobial resistance. Antimicrobial resistance is a big deal in Rwanda, like everywhere else in the country, for a number of reasons. One, the surveillance system and the response to it is still low, and the awareness in the community is equally low. And also there is indiscriminate use of antimicrobial in humans and livestock, especially in rural areas. So these three realizations gave us a reason to implement this activity of sensitization in the community. We started by training our own students, SOHIC, on basic knowledge about antimicrobial resistance, and then we gave them the skills on community entry. Following this, we deployed them in secondary schools to carry out further sensitization. In secondary schools, the methodology that we used was to present, to use visual aids. So in one instance, we presented microorganism resistance as monsters that are very difficult to manage because they have developed resistance against common antimicrobials that used to treat them. We also presented visual aid materials in a printed form for these students to use in the community and for their own reference as well. At the end of the training, we deployed these students as our ambassadors in the community. So we asked them to carry out 2 simple but very important messages. And the messages were, take this to the community. In case of illness, seek expert medical consultations. And 2, use prescribed medicine correctly. Do not treat yourselves. At the end of this training, we sat back and tried to take a stock of what the impact was on our activities. And we think that we created some impact. One, because we have trained a group of students that would be used as people that to be used in the community later on. So we have created and trained a future workforce that is immediately available to sensitize the community. Regarding the involvement of secondary schools, it was for us an entry point for One Health at another stage in the education system. And so going forward, it would be a lot easier for us. We have had the opportunity to interview some of the community and students as well. And these are some of the voices. From the SOHIC, one member said that it was very important to carry out such an activity in the community. And one of the community members said that actually some of their activities contributed quite a lot in the risk factors for antimicrobial resistance. And one of the secondary school students admitted that in their homes, they do share tablets. So these are situations that are very encouraging to create antimicrobial resistance. Thank you very much.
Merci pour cette belle présentation, Juvénal. N'hésitez pas à poser vos questions sur le chat. Et je voudrais passer la parole à notre cher ami et collègue, le docteur AFROHUN Njayu, pour présenter ses activités au Cameroun en tant que le AFROHUN Country Manager au Cameroun. Voilà, donc merci beaucoup. À vous la parole, cher docteur.
Merci beaucoup de la parole que vous nous passez. Cette présentation émane de l'équipe du Cameroun. Je suis AFROHUN Njayu, le Country Manager. Et nous allons effectivement échanger sur l'engagement des femmes rurales au Cameroun sur l'antimicrobial résistance et la COVID-19 en utilisant les ressources communautaires. Ainsi donc, au Cameroun, il y a plusieurs facteurs d'émergence de la résistance aux antimicrobiennes. On peut citer, entre autres, la mauvaise utilisation ou la surutilisation des antimicrobiens, tant chez les humains, les animaux, et même au niveau de la production alimentaire et même agricole. Nous pouvons aussi souligner l'insuffisance des tests réglementaires en ce qui concerne la vente des médicaments au niveau de la rue. Vous observez cette photo communément appelée gazon, mais aussi cette réticence des populations, d'accord, à faire recours au diagnostic avant de pouvoir ingérer une substance antimicrobienne. Le comble, c'est la situation de la COVID-19 qui, effectivement, est venue amplifier cette situation avec l'automédication. 4 étapes nous ont permis de développer notre stratégie au niveau du Cameroun. Premièrement, il a été question de faire un plaidoyer au niveau mental et des autres acteurs. Nous avions ensuite fait une investigation au niveau des facteurs pouvant permettre la pérennisation des phénomènes de résistance aux antimicrobiens. Et par la suite, nous avions développé un curriculum pour le personnel en service. Curriculum qui, d'ailleurs, en 2019, a été éprouvé par le biais d'une formation pilote. Et enfin, nous nous sommes penchés vers l'engagement des femmes à Yokadouma. Nous pouvons certes nous poser donc la question, pourquoi le choix des femmes? Vous savez bel et bien que moi, qu'en Afrique, et plus particulièrement au Cameroun, les femmes jouent un rôle vital au sein de nos familles, mais aussi au sein des communautés. Ceci est d'ailleurs amplifié au niveau de la zone rurale. Elles sont d'ailleurs responsables au niveau de nos familles, d'ailleurs lors de l'administration des médicaments au tout petit. Nous avons de ce fait jugé opportun d'engager donc ces femmes en ce qui concerne la lutte contre la résistance aux antimicrobiens au Cameroun, mais aussi, étant donné que nous étions en pleine crise sanitaire Covid, de les engager aussi dans la réponse à la COVID-19. Car cette stratégie, pour nous, est une stratégie qui est beaucoup plus efficace et durable. Les femmes que nous avions eu à engager étaient des institutrices, des fermières, mais aussi des leaders des associations, mais aussi certains étaient aussi des conseillers municipaux au niveau de la commune de Yokadouma. L'approche consistait en l'organisation des campagnes de sensibilisation, à la formation et à la sensibilisation des fermiers ou des fermières à l'utilisation des antimicrobiens dans leur exploitation. Mais aussi, celles qui étaient vétérinaires ou infirmières, nous leur avons donné quelques instructions en ce qui concerne le bon usage des médicaments. C'est une photo ici qui illustre la première formation. Formation au cours de laquelle les femmes, au sorti, étaient suffisamment outillées avec du matériel et des messages pour pouvoir reproduire cela pendant la période de sensibilisation. Elles étaient aussi outillées pour pouvoir éduquer les membres de leurs associations en organisant des discussions de petits groupes. Mais aussi, ce qui était important, une feuille de route a été élaborée à l'endroit de ces femmes pour un passage régulier au niveau de la radio pour pouvoir sensibiliser les populations en langue vernaculaire. 5 mois plus tard, nous sommes repartis à Yokadouma pour un suivi et évaluation. Et nous avions effectivement eu un feedback au niveau de ces femmes. Celle qui était secrétaire a d'ailleurs témoigné qu'elle a pu effectivement engager les membres de son association en ce qui concerne le bon usage des médicaments, mais aussi en ce qui concerne le respect des mesures barrières. La seconde, qui était une institutrice, a d'ailleurs dit que dans sa salle de classe, elle a enseigné à ses élèves le bon usage des médicaments, mais aussi elle essaye aussi de former les enfants sur les mesures barrières en ce qui concerne la COVID-19. La troisième, qui, lors de la formation, venait d'arriver, nous a certifié qu'effectivement, celle qui était pessimiste quant à l'existence de la COVID-19, surtout sa sœur, qui disait que la COVID-19 était une invention et que d'ailleurs, si elle existait, elle devrait utiliser les plantes ou les décoctions traditionnelles. Et elle nous a d'ailleurs confirmé qu'elle a pu effectivement dissuader cette dernière. Mais au finish, les femmes ont reconnu qu'il était difficile, en tout cas, de pouvoir sensibiliser leurs consoeurs dans l'environnement qu'elles avaient. Sur ce, je vous remercie de votre aimable attention. Thank you very much. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Cameroon. Next up is Uganda. Thank you for being able to demonstrate some of the gender issues that we have to deal with. That was very nice. We welcome Uganda, country Uganda, to make their presentation. And their presenter is Miss Angela Musewa. Please start your presentation and watch the monitor for the timing. Welcome, Angela.
AFROHUN Uganda is showcasing 4 activities out of the 12 implemented in Year 2 of the One Health Workforce Next Generation. The activities have been successfully implemented through working innovatively and engaging supportive partners. During Year 1 of the One Health Workforce Next Generation, AFROHUN Uganda supported the integration of One Health competences in the Community-Based Education Research Service program. It's also referred to as COBAS at Bara University of Science and Technology. In this program, students are placed in communities in a multidisciplinary way to help them practice what they have learned in class. But before they are placed, they undergo a 1-week pre-field attachment training. The COBAS program is fully institutionalized from class to field, and this makes it a very sustainable one. The faculty supporting the students during attachment areas evaluate them regarding One Health competences, among other competences. And therefore, there was a need for the field supervisors and the mentors to be oriented in this approach to better guide the students in the field. Out of the 89 site supervisors, 36 from the 9 field sites were oriented, and these supervisors represented various disciplines of health, IT, agriculture, education, and others. Since the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic in the year 2020, AFROHUN Uganda has had to adopt a new way of operation and has therefore moved from face-to-face to online delivery of its One Health Institute course. This year, more than 70 students from universities benefited from the online course that was hosted on the Makerere University e-learning platform. The training also provided for an opportunity for new collaborations and partnerships. Under the academia, the training brought on board the College of Education and External Studies that supported with pedagogical training. There was also a collaboration between Makerere University, Lira University, and Uganda Christian University, who brought on board new supervisors and new supervision skills. The field experiential learning had the students attempting to put the theoretical training into practice in their home communities. The students had both online and physical supervisors in the various groups. The online supervision was done on a daily by reporting regularly to their supervisors on their progress. The physical site supervision was done once in the second week of the attachment. 52 students came up with innovations while in the field, and some of the outstanding innovations include melting of plastic waste mixed with sand to make pavers, the use of black soldier fly larvae to decompose organic waste on a fruit processing plant. This innovation is both sustainable and economical in a way that it produces manure from the processed waste. The remaining larva has a high protein content that can be used as an animal feed. There was also encouraged urban farming of vegetables and homestead to encourage health eating, hence fighting against antimicrobial resistance. 6 graduate students that participated in the theoretical course were selected for a competitive One Health fellowship. The fellows were placed in different government, bilateral, and private sector institutions and projects. The students received mentorship in disease outbreak investigation, data collection and analysis, report and manuscript preparation, and build competences in communication and leadership. One great achievement of the fellowship is that there is an increased demand for these fellows. At the end of this activity implementation innovation, we have had a few outcomes, and some of these include accomplishment of the theoretical training fully online, faculty supervision and host supervision was done online, real-time field support for learners, fellowships and field experiential learning accomplished in a blended approach, while disciplinary composition exhibited, especially during the field with spiritual learning, brought on board learners and supervisors from Uganda Christian University and Leader University, reached out to wider communities covering Central, Eastern, Northern, and Western regions. With over 52 projects implemented, individual contribution per project was highly felt in the communities. The tangible One Health products generated through innovations indicated an entrepreneurial opportunities for our participants and the communities at large.
Okay, thank you very much, Team Uganda, for very engaging presentation on your three projects that you sampled to share with us. Thank you very much. I would like to call upon Team Ethiopia. That's the team that's going to present to us next. And the presenter for Team Ethiopia is Dr. Hailu Degefu. Dr. Degefu, please upload your presentation. Thank you very much. And you're most welcome. Please, colleagues, continue to write your questions in the chat so that we have the various countries respond to them. Thank you. Dr. Hailu, please go ahead.
You might be on mute, huh?
Dr. Hailu?
So, yeah. Now, I'm representing Ethiopia and representing risk analysis capacity building. Actually, we conducted a lot of activities, so we picked this one. So why Ethiopia is so much interested in this training, risk analysis training. Based on the need assessment we made during the PT1 program, the capacity of risk analysis is lacking, and it's become the top priority by different workforces in different ministerial offices. In addition to that, the National Disaster Management Commission also recommend in their document the development of a need for development of risk analysis capacity, and another report on joint external evaluation report of WHO also reported a lack of capacity in Ethiopia regarding with identification of doing assessment or risk analysis. And in response to that problem, the AFROHUN Ethiopia, the then OSHA, prepared One Health risk analysis module and conduct a training. And this module actually lastly has been used by other countries in Africa, is also included in one of the competency module. And the training was objective on to enhance multidisciplinary capacity in risk identification and assess risk and communication in One Health problem in a collaborative way, actually. So after developing the module, we keep on going to a training. Firstly, we conducted training of trainers in Addis Ababa by calling different experts from academia, from agricultural, Ministry of Health, even from professional associations and from laboratories, which are both in human and laboratory. So far we have conducted, we trained 256 in-service from different sectors, as indicated there, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Education, Wildlife Authority, from workforces, from disaster and risk management academy, and as well as academia. Then in this year, in year 2, planning, we also conducted this training. We keep on this training and trained 56 individuals from district and zonal workforces in Mekelle and as well as Jima. And the training approach that we usually use in conducting this training include pre and post training tests, and much of the training is involved or engaging trainers in group work. This module do have 16 group activity. Imagine this training usually conducted in 4 days, so it's highly engaging and very many of the participants, and the training topic that were included were listed there. To see the impact of the risk analysis training, actually it creates an immediate change in attitude of the participants, and we have conducted such simple test considering the pre and post training test. The average results before the training was 49.5 versus after 70. And from the evaluation we made, the participants actually used this skill in their lab and in health offices and applied this knowledge to change policies in their laboratory. And to talk about sustainability of this training, I think the need for more government engagement because of the budget and the number of participants that trained so far is 250,000. If we see it with that of the country workforce, which is very minimum, so government has to be engaged in here. Sorry. Okay, I can't see. Sorry, I will. So, can I go ahead? Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Hello.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Prof.
Thank you. It has some impact. So we really thank you, all the partners in this who are involved in this activity. So thank you, USAID, US Davis, and AFROHUN, especially the Secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ethiopia. Jaber?
Yes, and apologies for the missing slide. Dr. Hailu will sure appreciate your presentation and the great work you're doing. Okay, now on passe en français, on passe au Sénégal. Donc, on vous emmène avec nous au Sénégal avec notre chère présentatrice, Dr. Fatimata Niang, qui va présenter les activités de AFROHUN au Sénégal. Dr. Fatimata, est-ce que vous êtes avec nous? Est-ce que vous nous entendez?
Bonjour, oui, je suis là. Est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Allez-y, à vous la parole alors.
D'accord, merci beaucoup. Bonjour tout le monde. Mon nom est Dr. Fatimata Niang. Je suis thématique lead pour AFROHUN Sénégal. Je m'en vais donc vous présenter la communication du Sénégal qui porte sur le renforcement des capacités des futures générations du pays sur l'approche One Health. Je voudrais juste rappeler donc en guise de contexte que la mise en œuvre des activités du projet a démarré donc dans le contexte de la pandémie, comme vous le savez, ce qui signifie qu'il était nécessaire d'adapter la conception de nos activités, d'innover, mais également d'être flexible afin de se conformer aux mesures de sécurité et de restrictions qui ont été édictées par la santé publique. La santé publique, donc un secteur dont le renforcement des capacités demeure un point central. C'est d'ailleurs à ce titre que 16 modules ont été développés dans le cadre du du projet One Health Workforce. Et pour AFROHUN Sénégal, donc la priorité de formation a été accordée aux jeunes apprenants, c'est-à-dire les étudiants, mais également aux personnels qui sont en service. À ce titre, 2 activités phares, dont le développement d'un programme de petites subventions destiné aux étudiants ou aux chercheurs en début de carrière. Pour cette première activité, donc l'objectif était de favoriser la recherche multidisciplinaire des jeunes chercheurs à travers l'approche One Health. Quels sont les critères qui nous ont aidés à sélectionner donc ces équipes? C'est d'abord la multidisciplinarité, la prise en compte du genre, mais également la pertinence du thème par rapport à l'intégration de l'approche One Health. Ainsi, nous avions donc sélectionné 2 équipes. La première équipe donc, a travaillé sur l'analyse du risque de dissémination de la grippe aviaire au Sénégal et nous avons impliqué donc des informaticiens, des spécialistes de la santé publique, etc. Et le deuxième sujet de recherche porte sur l'étude des connaissances, des attitudes, des pratiques des prestataires de la santé publique, de la santé animale et humaine au niveau de du district sanitaire de Kaffrine sur la prise en charge donc, de la rage en 2021. Et donc, pour atteindre les objectifs de recherche, nous avions réalisé 2 formations essentielles. L'une porte sur la méthodologie de recherche multidisciplinaire et la deuxième formation sur la rédaction scientifique qui a impliqué donc les nouveaux, mais également les anciens boursiers de AFROHUN. Donc, pour la deuxième formation, l'activité phare que nous avions donc réalisée, elle porte sur le renforcement des capacités sur le leadership et le genre, qui a vu donc l'implication de 3 universités. Et donc, nous avions d'abord procédé à l'identification d'un formateur, membre du projet One Health Workforce. Ensuite, nous avions adapté les modules de formation avec le soutien du consortium mondial, mais également, nous avions organisé des sessions de formation adaptées au contexte de la pandémie. Et donc, ici, vous avez une image à droite qui montre un peu les images de la formation sur le terrain, mais également, en ligne, des activités ont également été menées. Et donc, au total, 75 étudiants ont été formés, dont 30 femmes et 37 hommes. Par la suite, pour mettre en pratique donc les connaissances théoriques acquises, nous avions organisé 2 activités. Et donc, une compétition au sein des membres du club d'étudiants, mais également une étude de cas, une résolution d'études de cas sur la COVID-19 et l'utilisation des connaissances acquises lors des sessions de formation. De même, des publications ont été réalisées. Une est déjà acceptée dans le journal Pathogène, mais également 3 autres manuscrits ont été soumis. Enfin, en termes d'impact, nous avons constaté qu'à la fin de la formation, que 80% des étudiants avaient une bonne connaissance du leadership. Par contre, pour le genre, tous les étudiants qui ont participé donc avaient su maîtriser donc le concept de genre. Et à la fin, nous avons 2 témoignages ici. Mbaïsen qui dit que si j'en viens au genre, je n'en parlais pas. Mais aujourd'hui, je sais que c'est un aspect clé dans le domaine de la santé. Par contre, pour le second étudiant, elle a su comprendre comment se comporter en société, savoir quelles sont ses qualités, et comment comprendre également les autres. Enfin, je voudrais terminer pour dire que la demande, elle reste toujours là. C'est d'ailleurs l'une des raisons qui fait que nous avons inclus la formation dans le plan annuel, dans le plan de l'année 3. Voilà ce que nous avions pu réaliser pour l'année 2. Je vous remercie pour votre attention.
Merci beaucoup, Dr. Fatimata Djerejef. Donc, avec le Sénégal, nous terminons les présentations à l'échelle des pays. Je passe la parole à Prof. Mabel pour faire un petit résumé et nous allons passer par là au reste de notre showcase.
Okay, thank you very much, my co-facilitator, Jaber, for that great teamwork. And above all, thank you very much to the presenters. Each country, you have done very well, and you have done all of us proud. Listening to you, you could see those of us who had our videos on, we were smiling throughout as we were engaging you. And the chat was really hot with the posts of congratulations and, you know, good work and so on. So that's a reflection of how dynamic and how we harvest the synergy from each other in terms of learning together. And that demonstrates the importance of this showcase event so that we're able to learn from each other. But more importantly, that learning should also be a way of taking home something that you can also go back and do better as you engage with others. So my general comments, rather than repeat the presentations or summarize in a way of repeating, I would want to make some comments as a way forward reflection on your presentations. First is to say that you have all applied all the principles of One Health and even gone beyond in your presentations in implementation of activities in year one. And as I reflect on where we are, because this is AFROHUN, so we are focusing on Africa, one of the key issues that really comes out is the aspect of equity. And I can see that each of your country level select or sampled projects are addressing in a way the aspect of inequalities that we see, not just because of the approaches we take, but that One Health is one of the approaches that can help address some of the inequalities that seem to persist in our country. So I applaud you. The topics were very broad, ranging from policy intervention, ranging from community-based, university or institutional-based. Some of them almost just went out direct as research. I loved also the approach of taking on the strategic plan for our country and so on. You have done very well, and also engaging the communities within a cultural context or working very closely with students as a target group. But even within that, looking at students who are in the younger cohorts, the ones who are much younger. So you're also thinking ahead in terms of Africa's #1 resource, the youth, the demographics. How can we harvest the demographic dividend? By working early enough, mitigating early enough, by working with the young people, not just in universities, but secondary schools and so on. I also enjoyed the wide range or broad range of partnerships and collaborations. Oh my, I tried to write down and I just got lost because every country came up with a unique way and demonstrated so ably in how we could tap into this and harvest that synergy in how we partner, not just the public-private partnership, but looking at how even public institutions partner amongst themselves, looking at private institutions, pulling in just NGOs, international as well as local NGOs. I also had a bit of the community-based organizations, which was very good. I would encourage us to keep working with those, but as we go forward on the issue of partnerships, remember the One Health Workforce Next Gen program is all about sustainability at the end of the time that we have these resources. So as we partner, let us be very careful that we have MOUs, we have agreements, so that will help to institutionalize some of the excellent work that you have showcased here today. My other last comment is most of the problems and solutions you are coming up with and innovations, I would like as you go forward in showcasing this, maybe some of it, the Secretariat or AFROHUN Secretariat, as well as the UC Davis, we could see how we can come up with a global publication. For example, the unique way of we are demonstrating partnerships for this project. One country may have something different. So if we can put together a paper that will be, cross-country cutting across the countries, that will be more global to show this unique approach in terms of partnership. And lastly, I would also encourage us as we move forward with these documentations that we encourage some of our students to pick up thesis topics. Let's have theses at master's level coming out of the work we are doing. Let us even doctoral dissertations, because this is really excellent work. So I can only say on behalf of my very enthusiastic co-facilitator Jaber, that this has been excellent, but rather than me attempt to repeat what you have done, and it's just to point a way forward as a way of summarizing these excellent presentations for year 2. We have 3 more years to go, and we expect you to step it up as we go forward. Thank you very much to each one of you, and thank you, my co-facilitator, as we move to the next session.
It was a pleasure co-facilitating with you, Professor Mabel, and thank you for all the great presentations we had today. I think this concludes the end of our first part of the showcase. We'll pass it over to AFROHUN Secretariat. Over to you, dear Mili.
Thank you so much, Professor Nangami and Dr. Jabel Elkiria, for this wonderful session. Very credible work done by the countries, and I'm very sure that we are touching many lives with this kind of work. We have a 5 minutes break, health break. Get out your cup of tea, your coffee, stretch.
Which coffee?
Thank you, Jim Bazil. Good coffee.
I wish you good drinking.
Maybe, Millie, we could take an opportunity as we take a coffee break to all turn on our videos and give a big salute to the countries for presenting. A cheers.
Cheers, cheers. Thank you.
Them all. No. Put them all. Put them
Bravo.
You can use your reactions, and you can also raise your cup if you have one, and to share your coffee and tea. So that we all... Okay.
Move the other slide. The other. Close that.
So are we ready? All of you, please turn on your videos. Let's a big clap and cheers to the country. Thank you. And a sip of your wine.
Okay.
Picture. Yes. Take a picture.
So
You taking that one?
yes, finished? Yeah. No. So as we stretch, we
The next page and take. The next page and take. Yeah, 6 page.
please keep your videos on for a bit.
Put on your video and we take
Please,
picture.
yeah. Put on your, leave your videos on for a picture. Yes.
All right.
Put on your video, take picture. Put on your video, take picture. Are they over? Next. Put on your video, take picture. Okay.
I'm taking.
Frank is taking.
Put on your video, take picture. Put on your video, take picture.
Okay. All right.
Now everybody has been taken, except those who didn't put.
Except me, please. Take again.
Take again.
So as we stretch and take our
You would finish 5 minutes.
yes, we have the stops.
Okay.
We have a little bit of information about the STOPS project that the CEO talked about in his opening remarks. It's just a few seconds of information.
Yeah, just sharing a meeting.
Yes, I'm here. We really appreciate the video being shown. Thank you, Professor Bazeo.
You're welcome, Professor Kochiva. And after the video you open your face and greet us. We are repeating the video. Put the video again, and then after that, yes.
Thank you.
After the video, Professor Kojiva, you open your video and then you greet the people.
Thank you very much, Professor Bazeo. I would be honored to do that.
Professor Kojiva. You are muted.
Okay, there I am. Thank you, Professor Bezeo. I'm sorry I was in and out during the first hour, but have joined for many of the last presentations. And I would congratulate AFROHUN, all of the countries, One Health Workforce, UC Davis. These showcases are always so inspiring. And I've had the privilege of watching and being part of OSEA First and AFROHUN for many years. And it's just so gratifying to see how many students and faculty and stakeholders are impacted. So thank you for inviting Stop Spillover to be here. We have several Stop Spillover attendees. And thank you too for allowing the little slideshow for folks to learn a little bit about Stop Spillover. So well wishes to everyone and congratulations.
Yes. Yes. Over to you, Miri.
Thank you, everyone. We're going into the second session of this program. And this is going to be facilitated by Dr. Mark Yambayamba, the country manager, AFROHUN DRC, and Dr. Tara Kelly, technical director, One Health Workforce Next Gen project, and she's based in UC Davis. You're both welcome to take over the session.
Yeah, thank you very much, Millie. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back from the break. I just want to say a big thank you for taking the time to join us today. It's much appreciated. My name is Tara Kelly, and I serve as the technical director for the One Health Workforce Next Generation project. And as Millie mentioned, Dr. Mark Yambayamba and I are really honored to be here today to serve as the facilitators for this second session of the AFROHUN Showcase. I'm excited to invite Dr. Irene Naigaga, the AFROHUN Regional Program Manager, to speak to us about socializing One Health workforce development in Africa through proactive stakeholder engagement. So over to you, Irene. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for inviting me. And I welcome everyone from the break. I remove the mask since everyone in the room has their masks on, so I've been advised to remove mine. Yes, I'll be talking about socializing One Health workforce development in Africa. So the first session focused on the country initiatives, but AFROHUN also supported regional initiatives that were spearheaded by the regional secretariats and supported by the partners. So our year 2 focus was really intentional in being proactive to engage stakeholders that are critical. The presentation would be incomplete without bringing you up to speed on where we are as AFROHUN. The time of the last showcase, I think we were onboarding the 9th country, and you'll be interested in knowing where we are after 1 year. I will also talk about the promise we made as we're transitioning from OSHARE to AFROHUN, and what we focused on in year 2 and where we'll be going in year 3. So AFROHUN is an international network of universities. We are currently in 10 countries. So during the year, we onboarded Liberia, and specifically University of Liberia under the STOPS program. So when you look at that map, those are the countries where we have presence. The countries with the blue shade, that is where we're operating in the One Health Workforce Next Generation projects. Where you see the purple stars, the stars is the countries that are affiliated to the Stop Spillover project. The purple stars, that's Uganda and Liberia. We've already started the Stop Spillover initiatives there. The red countries are countries which potentially will be onboarding under the Stop Spillover project as will be guided. The AFROHUN strategic goals are 4. The first 2, as you can see, mainly speaking to our core business, that is education and capacity building, research, innovations, and community development. And the 3rd and 4th goal is really inward looking, about focusing on resource mobilization and partnership engagement, and also internally reorganizing ourselves and strengthening our capacity. Currently, we are running 2 projects, the Stop Spillover that you heard about, and the One Health Workforce Next Generation project, whose work we are showcasing implement. So what is that promise? This is a recap. Last year, during the showcase, I talked about we were then, I think, 1 day old as AFROHUN. And the name, we rebranded from OSHEA to AFROHUN because we needed to give the network a continental outlook from a regional focus. But also at national level, we used to, under OSHEA, we were mainly institutional focused. But now we're moving into national focus. But also we are repositioning the network beyond universities, as you hear in my presentation. AFROHUN also has come with AFROHUN affirming our niche, consolidating our key achievements under the One Health Workforce Academy, as you can see on the left, on the right. And we're also designing and implementing programs that are evidence-informed. So we promised to do this under the academy, and we'll not talk in detail about the academy, but you'll have an opportunity, I think, at the next showcase to hear more when we are launching. So the academy is being operated under 5 pillars. There's a research pillar, there's a community practice, there is the student innovation clubs, there is the experiential learning models. We also have the accredited training programs. So where are we on that promise? You heard from USAID that this year we really focused on capacity building. And internally, we focused on capacity building, but in line with this theme, we build our capacity in partnership engagement. I'll talk about this in detail, but also socializing One Health Workforce development. As you can see, One Health Workforce development is a step-by-step, and it's a process. And this process relies on engaging partners, especially universities, the government, alumni, the private sector. We're interested in engaging the private sector, and also, of course, non-state actors and the funding agencies for us to be able to plan, to assess, first of all, the gaps, plan for the workforce, build that capacity, but also ensure that that capacity is sustained. So regarding universities, internally first, we focused on building our capacity and partnership engagement. We were intentional in this. Country managers and technical staff undertook a partnership development series facilitated by the TPI, the Partnership Initiative, and the consortium partners. It was a hands-on, as you can see that slide. We had assignments after every series. And we are currently undertaking projects that are addressing partnership gaps. And we are hoping that after these projects, we are going to implement some of these products from our projects. At university level, so that was to build a capacity to be able to engage partners, to be able to implement this new direction of the continental approach that we are undertaking. There were quite a number of other capacity building initiatives that I will not talk about, but in line with this theme, I focused a spotlight on partnership training. At university level, we started building an international community of practice on e-learning, which was the first of its kind. This brought together faculty and administrators from all the 27 higher education institutions under the network, with the objective to share the experiences. We realized that different institutions are different levels of developing their e-learning infrastructure, and this is ongoing. It's going to run for another year. There's a lot of learning that is happening. There's skills building, there's collaboration and problem solving. Every topic, there's a problem that is dealt with and addressed and discussed. There's knowledge creation. It's very, I'm sure our participants who are on this call have testimonies about this international community of practice. We also elected the International Board of Examiners, as you can see on the left, the 3 professors whose brief bios appear. These are faculty and subject matter experts in competence-based education. And this board is going to be overseeing One Health certification examination. So under the academy, we are going to implement an international One Health certificate. and the board will be overseeing its examination. And they will also establish the criteria for trainees, who is eligible and who is not. They will establish a performance in certification, examination, and also sensitize accrediting bodies and professional organizations and other potential employers. So that happened under year 2. We are also in the process. We initiated a development of a knowledge sharing platform, which we are calling the Smart Library. And this Smart Library, everything that we are learning is being documented. It's going to be submitted through a thorough review system. We already have the librarians. We have 4. We have librarians who will be categorizing and adding and updating this platform. And the types of information that we are going to be uploading will range from reports, as you can see, technical reports, financial reports, assessment reports, and training reports. Also audiovisuals, including this showcase. Our showcase recordings will be uploaded for you to listen in and catch up. If you want to focus on a particular session, you'll be welcome to do that. Documentaries, meetings, and conferences. We'll also be uploading scientific and popular publications, and also manuals, different manuals. We have a lot of training manuals, including modules. So these, the potential users, as you can see, of this platform will be accessible, and we think the information shared will be relevant to the government, to academia, to researchers, the private sector, to the business, and many others. So this process, again, it's reaching out to our partners, sharing what we are learning, but also sharing, getting from partners, ensuring the partners are informing our training programs through these assessments and the different engagement initiatives that we have. So where are we going with this? Again, our focus on what I've talked about. We intend to focus this year on operationalizing the One Health Workforce Academy activities. We'll pilot the revenue generation programs. We'll also continue with the international community of practice. We intend to operationalize the Smart Library, which is currently under development. And there are quite a number of initiatives that I thought I could follow through with what I've talked about in this presentation. With this, I would like to thank you so much for listening in, and thank you so much to the team, the entire network, the team at the Secretariat. I've had the privilege to present, but it's been really a team effort. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Tara Kelly.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much for the engaging presentation, Irene. I think it's really interesting to hear updates on the network's progress, vision, as well as how the network is engaging stakeholders and partners to be able to extend the network's reach and also to promote sustainability. So thanks for taking the time. And just a quick note to the participants to continue to put comments and questions in the chat as we move forward, and our team members will address them as we have time. Okay, over to you, Mark, for the next session.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tara Kelly, it's an honor to be co-facilitating this session with you. Let me appreciate the Secretariat team for giving us this opportunity to facilitate this session. So after this very insightful presentation from Dr. Irene Naigaga, the Regional Program Manager, we will be now having another look. Another look is that now we will be hearing from students. One of the important things we have in the network is that we build from the grassroots, from students. So this year, AFROHUN organized a student hackathon, which helped the students to present their project and how they think to solve One Health related issues using technologies. So we will be, we have 3 winners. We'll give them the time to share with us their ideas, how they performed, and it will be a great opportunity for team here of all the participants to ask questions and engage with students. So without wasting time, let me give the floor, first of all, to the first team. Team UFIT, if you are online, please share your screen and start your presentation. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening.
My name is Mugwanya John Mulo. Raise your voice. Good evening. My name is Mugwanya John Mulo. And one of the themes for today is innovation, partnerships, and collaboration. And we are more on the innovation part, presenting the Uganda food value chains, information management, tracking system. And the overview of this project focuses on improving the quality of foods consumed by people. It sees a link between the environment, animals, and man as a key factor in improving the quality of food value chain. The team was comprised of I myself, Mugwanya John Mulo, and Nyankwarara Chirungi Ivan, and Nakawesa Susan. The context of our project was anchored in the maize sector. And as you see, the maize sector grapples a lot with safety issues that could lead to toxicology in people. So FAO 2019 sees the standard food value chain as the only way to redeem these problems. And Uganda is not only vulnerable to health and economic risks due to a substandard food value chain, but also it's vulnerable to the economic and health well-being of a substandard food value chain. So there have been many efforts done to improve the standard of maize, and these efforts are not working. So this information management system comes in place to fill this gap. We intend to work in 5 years, targeting mainly processors, producers, personnels that are in the processing industry, the distributors and government structures. We intend to work with USAID, AFROHUN, and the government of Uganda. We are to engage national level stakeholders, district level stakeholders, and community level stakeholders. The logic behind engaging all these people is to contribute to an improved food system for the health and economic well-being of Ugandans. And we have a broad document that is operationalizing that ideology. The budget, we put it to be $529,700 US, just 0.5 of the maize sold in 2015. And the rationale for that budget is on improving people's productive and economic lives. We intend to work in a 5-year period from 2022 to 2027, and the first year will be developing of the FITS project, piloting it in the second year, scaling it in the third one. The first one will be for general controlling its operation, and the 5th year we shall be terminating or changing it into another project. We envisage 3 risks: politicization of the project, and we plan to institute regulatory instruments that underplay political interests. The second one is the fluctuation of costs, and we shall institute policies on supplementary financial pooling. The third risk is on hardships to use technology, and we shall develop training and refresher training manuals to respond to that. In our monitoring and evaluation plan, we have an encompassing framework that will include a project management plan, results plan, and a logical framework. We also forgot to indicate there the communication and advocacy plan. Sustainability is mainly anchored on the public-private partnership interested in the Paris development model that we shall be using to implement our project. And UFITS is not only capable to track maize, but also any other foods in Uganda. In conclusion, we would like to thank AFROHUN for providing us this opportunity to develop and showcase our project. And I personally have gained leadership skills and a great innovativeness. So are my team members, because we have been working together. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, UFIT team. I think congratulations to John, Suzanne, and Ivan for providing this very nice presentation and sharing with us these very insightful ideas on your project. Dear members and participants, please share with us your questions or comments in the chat box. Now we will pass it to the second team. The second team will be the peer-to-peer technocrats. So dear members, be prepared to hear from technocrats, and this will be a very important opportunity for the second team to share their project. Peer-to-peer technocrat, can you please share your screen and start your presentation? Thank you.
Yeah, hello everyone. Hello everyone. I think you're getting us. Greetings everyone, wherever you are. I'm Akboy Steven, the team captain of peer-to-peer technocrats with Solomon and Maria. So the problem is inappropriate prescribing and dispensing of drugs. That is a major challenge that has led to misuse and overuse of drugs by the medical staff and the public. This has led to an estimated 700,000 deaths from drug-resistant infections. There have been current initiatives like antimicrobial resistance awareness and sensitization campaigns, deployment of surveillance task forces, and current systems of registration, which are still ineffective because they are not cost effective. That's why we are coming up with a peer-to-peer technology that uses an automatic monitoring and surveillance system using medical inventory software and peer-to-peer technology. It has a couple of benefits. It does community awareness and sensitization through overtime message alerts sent to clients in partnership with telecom companies, regulation of over-the-counter dispensing of drugs by pharmacies and drug shops, monitoring usage and supply of drugs to the public. It's as well cost-effective. So this is how the system is going to look like. The first check, a client will be required to have a prescription note. That means without a prescription note, you're not being in position to get any drugs. After that, you present your prescription note to a registered pharmacy with the system. So the name of the health facility and the doctor and the drug prescription and description are the most important here, which are going to be fed into the system for verification. Once the name of the health facility and the doctor are not verified, no drugs will be dispensed. If they're verified, drugs will be dispensed, whereby their batch number will be recorded, and that information will be sent to the Minister of Health and NDA for monitoring the supply of the drugs. In the process, a client will be required to avail their phone number, where the sensitization messages are going to be sent to them, letting them know of the importance of using antibiotics rightly. So we are going to have two interfaces, one for the pharmacy or drug shops, another for the Minister of Health. So this is how the platform of the pharmacy is going to look like. They'll be required to log in, and then you follow through, as you can see on the PowerPoint. So we plan to implement our project in a period of 1 year in 3 phases. The first phase is going to be about design and development. The first design and development, and then the phase 2 will be about testing, and then phase 3 will be about the deployment of the system. So this is how it is. Phase 1 is about initiation of the implementation of the project, system designing and development, that is going to take us 5 months. Then phase 2 Yeah, phase 2 is going to be about deliverables management and system testing that will take 3 months. And then phase 3 will be about supportive services and deployment of a system that will take 4 months. So we plan to spend about for 15,000. We plan to spend about a total of $14,000, $14,150 to implement our project. So in Uganda, we have a couple of pharmacies and drug shops. So we plan to start around Bara City with 15 pharmacies. And then after testing the feasibility of the project, we plan to sell this system to pharmacies and drug shops nationally in partnership with the government. And each pharmacy and drug shop will be required to pay a monthly subscription to cater for the operation and maintenance costs.
Our partners, the partners you're working with, we're working with the government, that's the National Drug Authority and the Ministry of Health, that will help with the funding, advocacy, policy implementation, and surveillance. We also work with international agencies, like you said, in UK, that will help with the donations and telecommunication companies like nationally in Uganda, like MTN and Airtel, that will be sending sensitization and awareness messages in local languages to the people. The Uganda Medical and Dental Practitioners Council and the Allied Health Professionals Council that will be providing this information for registered health workers and health facilities to be used in the system. The stakeholders are working with the communities, government, healthcare facilities, medical insurance companies, software engineers, pharmaceutical companies, and telecom companies that we have ranked according to 1 as most interest, 2 as least interest, A as most powerful, and B as least powerful. And this is how we have grouped them. With interest, if a stakeholder group them according to A, like how we had mapped them according to the ranking, and then 1 in terms of interest. According to our mapping, we're saying that if a stakeholder has more power and least interest in the project, we keep them satisfied. If a stakeholder has more power and more interest in the project, we manage them closely. And if a stakeholder has least power and least interest in the project, we monitor them. And then if a stakeholder has least power and most interest in the project, we keep them informed. And these are our references. Our experiences after AFROHUN is that we have learned how to innovate current systems to mitigate challenges in our society. And we have learned how to work as a team and coordination with other people in order to uplift our project from the ground, creating connections to transform our innovative idea into a feasible project. And finally, also thank AFROHUN for organizing the hackathon that has kickstarted creative ideas to solve current problems in our society. Thank you everyone for listening.
Great, thank you so much, peer-to-peer technocrats, for these very nice presentations. Congratulations on behalf of all the participants. If you have questions, please share with us your question in the chat. I can see one question for UFIT team. Please look at the question in the chat and, if possible, provide your responses. Thank you so much, team peer-to-peer technocrats. We will now leave quickly to the last team, which is team Dawazetu. Dawazetu is in Kiswahili, which seems to say our drug. I think they will also be talking about antimicrobial resistance. Dawazetu team, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good. Hello, everyone. I'm Cecilia Kibasa from Tanzania, a representative of Team Dawazetu, where we work on rural community access to information on antimicrobial resistance. Here in Tanzania, people have little information on matters pertaining health. For example, in 2017, a study was done and revealed that 30% of livestock farmers was their first time they have ever heard the concept of antibiotic resistance. Currently, such important information is given mainly by the mass media, which is less feasible and consistent. Hence, Dawazetu came up with a user-friendly solution that will ensure proper information on antimicrobial resistance. Antimicrobial resistance is accessible to rural community, and it is an internet-free web application that is integrated with USSD, covering all individuals using both basic phones, who are the majority, 62% of the people in Tanzania are using the basic phones, and those with smartphones. We anticipated to conduct our project in 1 year. We are currently we are on platform development, and we have already done it by 20%, in which it is done by the programmers, the IT, and the health practitioners. Antimicrobial resistance is a One Health problem. So there's there to analyze the essential partners, which will work with them to solve this problem. And these partners we have are the health professionals that are from different fields. We have the doctors, dentists, pharmacists, environmental health scientists, and the veterinarians, who their key role is be feeding the database with proper information on antimicrobial resistance. We also have the telecommunication companies who will be working with them who through them will get a portal to access our end users, that is the rural community. We also have the pharmaceutical companies who will be working with them in manufacturing and distribution of antimicrobials and in giving information on antimicrobial use and antimicrobial resistance. We have the Tanzania Medicine and Medical Authority. We also have the AFROHUN, who are providing us with mentorship and also it has provided us some funds. We have the drug dispensers who work as a link, who link us with our end user, that is the community members. I welcome my colleague Unfrida to proceed.
So we have also analyzed some stakeholders, which are the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries, which will provide us with the data on antimicrobial resistance in their respective fields, and which will also help us to reach people. We also have the Tanzania Communication Regulatory Authority, which will provide us with authority and number of customers, which are the end users. We have the academics, which will do further research on antimicrobial resistance in the rural areas. It will also provide task force during evaluation via community, during evaluation of the project through community surveys. We have the rural community. These are our final and end users of our product. They will also give us feedback during the evaluation process. We expect our project to use a total of $7,500, whereby the $700 will be used as analyzed in the slide below. We have $1,000 for platform development, $2,000 for USSD code acquisition for TCRA, which is also one of the stakeholders. We have the $1,000, which will be used for integration to the telecommunication companies. We have $2,500 for license renewal and $1,000 for general evaluation of the progress. We thank AFROHUN for this great opportunity and privilege to be part of the hackathon, to participate in the hackathon and finally be able to present our project in this showcase. We are grateful and we have learned a lot. We have learned that teamwork help us to work towards the goal and accomplish it, presenting and pitching skills on different grounds. It has broadened us our mind on One Health concept that when solving health problem, we need to incorporate various sectors, not only the sector you're focusing on. We have also gained skills on how to transform this hackathon or these creative ideas into real-time projects. AFROHUN has funded us, and this is helping us to go about our project as we look for more sponsors and other organizations to fund the project. We will use this knowledge and skills to tackle many other problems on health problems and further development of our project as we look forward to reach a greater number of people and impact them with an appropriate knowledge on antimicrobial resistance, which will bring about behavioral change and help them to make healthier choices. Below is the demonstration on how our solution will be working. And this is the dev team. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Hi, karibu sana Dawazetu team. Thank you so much. Very nice presentation. Congratulations to you all. Maybe just to add background information on this hackathon. We had almost 70 candidates at the beginning, 70 team at the beginning. And then after the first selection, the semifinal and the final, then we have selected these 3 teams, peer-to-peer technocrats, Dawazetu and UFIT. And Dawazetu was the top of this selection. So congratulations. So they went through a very long process of selection, and they also received mentorship and support during this process. We are very happy for that. Congratulations to all of you. Dr. Tera Kelly, how have you seen student presentations? Just a quick question as we are sharing this session together, if you have something to say about that.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Just want to say a big congratulations to the student teams. Just wonderful to hear your innovative ideas, and just really appreciated the details for implementation and really highlighting those key areas for sustainability. So thanks very much for the presentations, and congrats again.
Thank you so much. I will leave it to you for the next topic. It will be the One Health Workforce Next Generation Global Consortium panel. So Dr. Tera Kelly, please take the floor for this part of our session. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mark. And David, if you could share the slides, that would be fantastic. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. All right, so today we have an interesting panel session on fostering opportunities to advance One Health, in which members of our global consortium who lead the technical areas of our One Health Workforce Next Generation project will be speaking to our collaboration and work with AFROHUN to support the network's mission in advancing One Health and One Health workforce development. And we'll kick off the session today with our panelists delivering some brief presentations. Again, during the presentations, please feel free to use the chat box to make comments and ask questions. The panelists will do their best to address them as we move through the session. At the end of all of the presentations, we'll also provide an opportunity for Q&A and discussion with the panelists if there's time permitting. Next slide. Okay, so making up our panel today, we have Professor Dele Winsation, who leads the Objective 1 activities for the One Health Workforce Next Generation project, which is focused on training and empowerment. Dr. Susan Michael Strasser, who leads Objective 2, which is focused on One Health workforce tracking and assessment. Professor Ndola Prada, who leads the gender initiatives for the project. And finally, Dr. Alexander Zuber, who leads Objective 3 for the project, which aims to strengthen organizational sustainability of the One Health University networks. Okay, next slide. So over the past year, AFROHUN has really demonstrated leadership in advancing One Health and workforce development across the African continent. And I think the network's vision and commitment to establishing the AFROHUN One Health Workforce Academy, which you heard briefly about in Irene's presentation, is a really nice example of this. Dele, could you please speak to the opportunities for the AFROHUN One Health Workforce Academy to advance the One Health agenda, both regionally and globally?
Thank you, Tara. And let me start by congratulating AFROHUN and all the participants at today's showcase. The objective on training and empowerment aims to develop and deliver trainings that are consistent with competencies in One Health, and packaging those competencies in a way that's accessible to everybody requires a backdrop of quality assurance so that we know that what takes place in the classroom is exactly consistent across universities in the network and according to international standards. And this is the role of the One Health Workforce Academy. So David, if I could have the next slide, please. So the question is, how do we then take all of the activities that have been presented today and that have been happening over the last 10 years and make them really a gem for the region, responding to Africans countries' situations around pandemics, around other kinds of global health threats, but also connecting all of those training activities to what's going on internationally. There are global threats that don't know national boundaries, and we have to make sure that we are all working to the same standard. So the Academy really is a one-stop shop for training and empowerment. The goal, of course, is to have a respected and accredited credential, which we have tagged the One Health certificate. And I want to congratulate AFROHUN Technical Advisory Committee, the director of the Academy, Professor Kabasa, lots of staff within the AFROHUN Secretariat working on this initiative. If I could have the next slide. So we now have an opportunity for everybody, and I want to encourage everyone on this call, if you have not yet visited the Academy website, one way to reach regional and global audiences is to enroll in the Academy site. So we now have an opportunity, as soon as you go to that One Health Workforce academies.org, you will be able to establish your personal user profile. And we have the capacity for at least 1,000 people to register, to create their own profile, and to preview some of the courses that we have available so far. We'll be developing more, and the ones that are there, case studies, outbreak preparedness and response, and a course that we hope will lead ultimately to completion of all the core competencies for One Health and the certificate. So you're all welcome to visit and register. Next slide, please. Thank you. We are really thankful to all of the country managers and activity leads on the Academy website. It's kind of behind the scene is the curriculum curation management system. This is a way for us to capture what's been going on at the university level and in the classrooms that are competency-based, but also the new training programs that the consortium is leading and coordinating to supplement what's already at the university level for trainees. We hope that this appeals to in-service professionals across the region and globally. Next slide, please. Behind the quality of the training at the university level and also on the academy is what Dr. Irene talked about, the International Board of One Health Examiners. She did show the AFROHUN representatives. There are 3 wonderful participants, including Professor Nangami, Professor Rianatu, Professor Kabasa, but we also want this to be global. So we have participants from CIOHUN as well, and they've all received now the results of the One Health Workforce Next Generation Core Competencies, the Delphi panel, that's helping us review and refine those competencies that they will then use for the basis of the certification, examination, and CPD credit procedure. We are supporting the Board of Examiners with a survey, a stakeholder survey, to know what people want to see at the academy. What are the potential barriers so that we can plan for it? And this survey, we're really thanking you all for participating. It's still ongoing, and we hope that we will get more participants from AFROHUN to subscribe. It takes about 15 minutes, but the results will be very helpful to really have a regional impact and a global commitment to the programs that AFROHUN is developing. Thank you very much for the time. I would be happy to answer questions later on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dele, for highlighting our collaborative work on the academies. So competency-based education, training, and assessment really holds tremendous potential to ensure that our students, as well as our graduates, are what we call fit for purpose and fit for practice. Susan, I was wondering if you could please speak to the opportunities that you think exist for AFROHUN to continue to promote and operationalize One Health competency-based education and assessment. Over to you, Susan.
Wonderful, thank you. And so nice to see so many people online. And again, to echo Dele, just congratulations to everyone who is involved in the hackathon. It was really, really impressive. I'd love to go to Tanzania and see the work in the fields. So thank you for that. Our focus is around, as Tara said, is that the graduate is the person that is going into the workforce to work with One Health related activities. Is that person fit for purpose? So is the person fit to cover the breadth and depth of One Health? And are they fit for practice? Do they have the competencies, the knowledge, the attitude, and the skills to drive this agenda forward? Next slide. And so to better understand what we mean by this, I have a series of pictures. If you could just tap each one. So the first one is can the graduate land the plane? And as you see on the upper left-hand side, we've got a big jumbo jet. So that could be a big team in a situation where they have to work together to land the plane. But as you can see on the right, sometimes where we land is not predictable. And sometimes an airplane has to land on water. And so do our people out in the workforce have the flexibility to adapt to changing environments and different landing conditions? And then the third picture is really going through a storm. And a good example of that is what we're all dealing with now with COVID-19. A lot of our response is playing catch up, for example, in infection control, in monitoring, in the use of data, in our ability to get vaccine where they're needed. We see tremendous global disparity in that regard. So this idea of being fit for purpose and fit for practice, we use the simple analogy: can the graduate, can the person out in the workforce land the plane? And over time, we expect people to be able to do more and more in more complex conditions. So for a new graduate, we wouldn't expect them to weather the storm independently, but we would expect leadership at a more mature level to be able to handle that. Next slide. So competency-based training, education, and assessment from the perspective of workforce management, so human resources for health, we are most interested in not only what people know, but in what they know how to do. So moving beyond knowledge to acting with purpose. Are they fit for purpose? Are they fit for practice? Learners need to demonstrate their knowledge, their skills, and their capacity through exercises, activities, and experiences that align with clearly defined outcomes. So there is an objective measure. Mastery of competencies through multiple forms of assessment across a variety of circumstances. And what we mean by a variety of circumstances, if we go back to the pictures of the airplane, can a student do something, a certain skill or competency? Can they do that in ideal conditions? Can they do it in a condition where there is some unknowns, where they may lack some resources, they may lack some tools, they may lack some of the medicines that they need? And then it's a systematic assessment of learner competency is a critical component at all levels of learning, from pre-service education to in-service training and continuing professional development. So objective 2 is really thinking about this over the entire life cycle of a health worker, from their basic education to their entry into practice, and as they progress through their career and become more and more competent and reach that expert or leadership level. So the next slide, sorry, go ahead. You can just click on the rest here. So with this term of competency-based education and assessment, what we are trying to do is bridge the gap between theory and practice. And on the left-hand side, you see a stack of books. And educationally, we have typically focused on the knowledge that we need to impart to students and to the health workforce through continuing professional development. So it's all the knowing that needs to happen. But on the right-hand side is the real world, where things are unpredictable, where things are fluid, where things are ever changing. And that's the doing. And so we want to bridge the gap between what we know and what we are able to do. Over the past 2 years, working with AFROHUN Secretariat, we have launched the use of a toolkit and a 5-part webinar series to bridge that know-do gap, to foster objective evaluation of knowledge, skills, and attitudes acquired, whether it is through the basic education, through graduate degrees, or through continuing professional development. And again, the operative word there is objective. So we have an observable, measurable competency that we are looking for. Can that person land the plane? And it's building consensus on required competencies for entry into the profession. And this really circles back to what Dr. Dele spoke about and the Delphi panel, to make sure that the competencies outlined in the toolkit, which you can see the picture on the lower left-hand side, is comprehensive of all that the experts in the field feel are necessary to be a competent One Health practitioner. This toolkit works to enable consistent evaluation approaches that are objective and measurable. It is also meant to provide guidance on career development. As you saw with the One Health Workforce website, there is the growth of continuing professional development, case studies, and the ability to be certified in One Health. And so this is part and parcel of what we are trying to do in Objective 2, to use what is called a stage-based maturity model to help people move along a continuum of competence from a novice, a new graduate, all the way to advanced and expert level of competence. And then it is also formalizing observable, measurable assessments of competence, as I said, from novice to expert. And we focus on, for the graduate, the new graduate, is the minimal skills and ability required to enter a profession. We don't expect people who graduate to be experts, but we expect them to have a minimum of skill and ability within their toolbox to be able to enter the profession as a safe and effective practitioner, not necessarily working alone, but as part of a team. And so this is the continuum that we're really pushing for through Objective 2. Thank you, and I look forward to any comments or questions.
Great, yeah, thank you, Susan, very much for highlighting our work with the network on promoting competency-based education and assessment. As Susan mentioned, please feel free to continue to type your comments and questions in the chat box, and we'll address them as we move forward. So gender equality, equity, and women's empowerment are all a major focus of the One Health Workforce Next Generation project. And Ndola, I was wondering if you could please speak to the importance of gender as a cross-cutting focus or theme in AFROHUN's portfolios and speak to the opportunities that lie ahead for integration of gender into the network's programming. Over to you, Ndola.
Thank you, Tara. I also want to congratulate AFROHUN on a very interesting and productive day today with the showcase. It's really nice to see everything come together. Can I have the slides, please? Thank you. So our vision is to create a One Health workforce that intentionally and comprehensively addresses gender disparities and opportunities. And to do that, we started from the beginning of the project to determine a gender action plan, which is a 5-year plan that identifies interventions, activities, and actions to close the gender gap. And with that plan, AFROHUN could better understand gender roles and power dynamics in the network, promote gender relevance entry points to introduce gender in trainings and programming, but also to identify opportunities to enhance gender equality in One Health Next Generation workforce. And the way it's linked with the objectives, just to give you an example, for example, with Objective 1, which is related to workforce training and empowerment that you already heard today, we want to ensure that training of gender exists throughout the One Health curriculum. That is a priority, but also whether it's independently as in gender training or integrated into infectious diseases, for example, or outbreak investigation, that enables trainee to examine how differences in power relations, gender norms, resulting differences in risk exposures, vulnerabilities, and outcomes in diseases. With Objective 2 that Dr. Susan just presented, gender is actually established as a competency, its own competency in One Health. So it enables us to assess gender perspectives along the One Health workforce pipeline, anything related that is important to sex disaggregation, but also it allows the network to monitor gender equity in training and employment. For Objective 3 that you will hear after me, that deals with the building the institutional capacity of the network, we would like to identify evidence-based ways to mainstream gender and also to have a gender policy and a roadmap for operationalization of this policy, which is something that AFROHUN has already accomplished. Next slide, please. And in AFROHUN's portfolio of opportunities, I see the dissemination and implementation of the gender policies that I'm outlining here, some of the key strategic objectives that you see that they all aim at promoting gender equity, but also to help deliver gender transformative and equitable activities in the network, partners, and the communities that they serve, which is going to be extremely important. Next. So as part of the continuing these opportunities with AFROHUN's portfolio, we are working closely with the network to tailor gender training needs. And that tailoring happened after we conducted a gender traces study for the trainees that were initially trained in the previous project. And from them, we were able to identify challenges and opportunities and additional training needs and get a good sense of how the cascade training is being conducted in AFROHUN. So we will continue to conduct training of trainers, specifically in the areas of gender analysis and gender introduction of gender into training and programming and gender mainstreaming. And we want to continue to create the a critical mass of gender experts within the One Health Next Generation project, continue to work with the gender champions in each of the countries, and provide as needed the technical assistance that each individual country might be in different stages. But at the end of the day, at the end of the 5 years, AFROHUN will have enough critical mass to continue to conduct gender analysis and therefore expand the networks and have network-specific gender action plan. Thank you.
Great, thanks very much, Ndola. Really appreciate hearing the highlights on our work with AFROHUN to further integrate gender into their portfolio and program activities. Thanks very much. So one of the goals of the One Health Workforce Next Generation project is to support AFROHUN in developing and delivering sustainable programming and strengthening the organizational sustainability of the network is really key to being able to achieve this goal. And so Alex, I was wondering if you could please speak to the opportunities that you see for AFROHUN to continue to strengthen its organizational sustainability to be able to thrive in an ever-changing funding environment.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tara, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today. I echo the sentiments of how fantastic the presentations were preceding me. I want to say first, AFROHUN has built an impressive organization over 10 years with a stable funding environment provided primarily from a single funder, USAID. And we do know that no funding is indefinite and funding shifts over time. And I think USAID really had wisdom in putting together this initiative by having an objective dedicated to investing in AFROHUN and SIAHUN's organizational sustainability and their ability to sustain themselves after the end of the initiative. Next slide, Tara. So in thinking about organizational sustainability, I think there are some key ingredients, and we have been working with AFROHUN on each of these, and AFROHUN has made a lot of really important strides. First, it's important that AFROHUN articulates its value proposition, and it has done so by developing for the first time business plans for its organization, where they have outlined their value proposition, their key beneficiaries, they reviewed their business model, and really they represent a very unique regional university-based network of educators, practicing professionals, and students around One Health that does not have an immediate comparator. And they also have an accessible regional platform for funding research, training, and informing policymaking from a regional basis. AFROHUN also needs to have an operational model that can contract and expand with funds as they shift over time. So we've been doing some work with the network on defining its operational model, defining core versus project staff, identifying which staff would need to onboard new projects, how to document time across multiple projects, defining a lean and robust operational scenarios, analyzing their cost structure, really trying to get a picture about how to make the organization more adaptable to the fluctuations, the contractions and expansions of donor funding. Of course, AFROHUN also needs to have very robust project and financial management to be able to execute in a superior way and to be accountable to donor funding. So to that end, together we have embarked on a really ambitious program of capacity building in board governance, financial management, procurement, subboard management, partnership development. Dr. Irene mentioned the really robust investment they made in partnership development capacity building program. And all of this has resulted over the 2 years of AFROHUN getting to a point where they are measuring adequate or strong capacity in all the major dimensions of what is a well-established USAID organizational capacity building tool that we've been using to guide this work. And this means that AFROHUN is positioned really well to begin the process of moving towards direct funding by USAID. And this is a key milestone for the initiative and a key milestone of the project, a key objective of the project. So it's really a success that should be celebrated. AFROHUN has also embarked on a new project management software program, which they've used broadly to monitor their programs and to advance project management. They have established a positive, reliable presence across their countries, good visibility, and we're working with them in years 2 and 3 to strengthen communication materials to be able to raise that visibility so that more stakeholders and more partners are aware of their good work. Another key ingredient is a diversified funding model. To this end, we've worked with AFROHUN to produce the first partnership engagement strategy, and we did this last year. They defined specific targets and goals they wanted to meet, and I'm happy to say they achieved their target of 1 new funded partnership this year. They also developed 42 new partnerships under the One Health Workforce Next Generation project, and that is across government, NGO, academic, and private sectors. So that is also indicative of the strength and value of the organization across the region. And we're also examining opportunities for the organization to generate revenue to help complement these funds. So if you can see on this next slide, the slide before, this is an illustration of the diversified funding model that AFROHUN envisions for its operations. It comprises donor government grants, research grants, private voluntary sector grants, but also earned revenue from some of the core offerings through the academy and through other vehicles for training and capacity building. So what are some of the key steps to that end? I think strengthening the partnership engagement approaches that the network undertakes. So really helping the network implement its partnership engagement strategy. We also want to work with AFROHUN this year to review all of their business lines for earned income potential. We want to support sustainability planning of the One Health Workforce Academy. So that's looking at projecting the different scenarios of the academy, the costs, and where some revenue generating opportunities may exist. And then exploring the opportunity that membership services may present for the network. So I look forward to any questions and discussions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alex, for speaking to the priorities for moving forward to continue to work with AFROHUN in strengthening the network's sustainability. Just want to say a big thank you to all of our panelists for the great presentations today. I think in the interest of time, we'll need to move on to the next panel, but I do want to encourage participants to reach out if there's comments and questions. Please type them into the chat box and our panelists can address them in the next session. And there's also our email address down there below if you would like to reach out for additional information. So thanks everyone, and I'll turn it over to you, Mark, for the next session.
Yeah, once again, thank you so much, Professor Terra, for this. I think to all of the panelists, this was very, very insightful and very interesting. Thank you very much. I think this shows that it was very important for us to have this showcase and get all these. So I see that
we give you 5.
Yeah, okay. So a clap to the panelists. Yeah, very nice. So thank you so much, Dean Bazeo, for providing that very interesting idea. So now the next session will be the partner roundtable. I will be, and it will be facilitated by Professor John David Kabasa. I will be passing it to him. Please, Professor John, you have the floor. We thank you very much for the opportunity to share or to co-facilitate this session with Dr. Tara Kelly, and we thank you very much for your time and for your attention. We leave it to Professor Kabasa. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, good morning, good evening, I think good afternoon, wherever you are, and thank you for engaging. We would like to recognize some of our partners from AFROHUN who have joined in. I think there was Dr. Bipat and others, so thank you very much for joining in. In this session, we have our eminent discussants, as highlighted, Dr. Eric Mitten, if I pronounce it in Flemish, and then we have Mr. Ronald Kimtai and Marilyn Crane. I will start with Dr. Eric. Stop sharing, sir, please. Dr. Eric, we will be interacting. We have approximately 15 to 20 minutes for this session. So on average, each member has about 6 to 7 minutes. 4 to 5. So if you can use 5, that would be very good for us to engage here. I would like to welcome you, Dr. Eric. First, briefly tell us about Zoetis and yourself a little bit within about 1 minute. And then thereafter, I'll give you the next interactive question for the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kabasa. Nice to meet you again. It's been a long time, I think, from 2018, if I remember well. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eric Mitten. I'm the Veterinary Affairs Manager of the Alpha Initiative, which is a partnership between the Gates Foundation and Zoetis. I'm based in Belgium. I graduated as a vet from Ghent University, and I work, like I said, I work for Zoetis. And Zoetis is in fact some kind of a young company, we call it, with over 65 years of experience. We come from the old Pfizer company, but we are a young pharmaceutical company. We're active in animal health, and we have some unique position within the pharmaceutical animal health industry, as we do not only produce pharmaceuticals, but also vaccines, diagnostic tests, genetic tests, but also biodevices like in ovo machines for in ovo vaccination in poultry hatcheries. We consider our continuum of care concept very important. Predict, that's what you do with genetic tests. Detect, that's what you do with diagnostics. Prevent, that's biosecurity, by training, but also vaccination and treatment by, of course, antibiotics and antiparasites and many more. We are present in approximately 100 markets, and since 4 years, we are present again in most of the sub-Saharan countries. We have a part. Okay.
So yeah. That's good enough. Thank you so much, Eric, for that. In this One Health approach, would be particularly interested to get a clarification from you. What opportunity you see at the private sector interface level, development sector level, and how this could be harnessed for improving global health security.
Okay, so in the past 4 years, we were able to develop several activities in sub-Saharan Africa. First of all, we brought our products, of course, to the market. We also spend a lot of time on training and education to several levels, and most of the time farmers, vets, paravets. But also, and that's extremely important, I think, related to the topic, is that we were able to build what we call a diagnostic network. So we set up in 4 countries a total of 16 partnerships with private labs, public labs, sometimes universities, and we have with Makerere University a partnership as well, Jimma University in Ethiopia as well. And we collaborate with those partners on improving diagnostics, and we all know how important diagnostics is when it comes to, of course, recognizing a disease, but also confirming the disease. And from our perspective, it's absolutely important that we do it in the right way to select the right product for treatment or prevention. I would say when you would link it to the things the network is doing, I would say please use this diagnostic network we have in Sub-Saharan Africa. Collaborate with those local partners they could act as a dispatching hub in the field to bring samples to you, to store these samples, but also collect information. Those people are trained to do the sampling, they're trained to do the storage of samples, to do the logistic work as well. But also maybe it's an opportunity to set up sample banks with them in the field, or maybe centrally, but collect the samples in the field, and then you have samples. And having samples is extremely powerful in research projects as well, to monitor antimicrobial resistance as an example. Secondly, and I think that's important, extremely important, we were able to invest in the past 4 years in digital innovation. We developed one app which was called LabCards, and that application on a smartphone is able to transfer, let's say, the data from the field to the lab, but also the lab result back to the field. We have lots of data. We did over 200,000 tests in the past 4 years. Their data in that database, and please use this kind of tools to set up your own or integrate it into your research project. I think it's extremely powerful tool because it starts with geographical mapping of the results of data on the farms where you collect samples.
Yes.
That's okay.
No, it's okay. Yes. Lastly, for your comment, how would you advise higher education institutions and networks to reposition and log into such opportunities? That what advice would you give to the higher education institutions?
First of all, I would like to say, do not try to change your role. Your role is to educate, train people in scientific thinking, in research, and so on. And that's the second job, that's research activities. So on one hand, it's education. On the other hand, it's research. Stick to that role. I think that's extremely important, but let your people play that role towards private sector in the field. Offer, yes, let's say, possibility to send people for capacity training. But also use your well-trained scientists and your local experience at its best. Some of you have excellent labs, lab equipment, and so on, and could offer to private sector access, let's say, to different methods or laboratory testing and so on. Of course, you're a public partner, and private and public, we need to adapt a little bit to each other, and it might be needed, to speed up sometimes some kind of the processes which happen. that's quite normal. But I would also say, and I think there's a big opportunity, at least for our company, is that we set up sustainable partnership in different regions with stakeholder organizations. And those stakeholder organizations, they have access into the field, and there is what is happening. Whatever you will do on the research activities, but also related to educational activities, you need to access and use this network, a network of labs, but also use the network of stakeholder organizations.
Thank you so much, Eric, for that clarification. We had to cut you short because the time is running out. We know you are very active already, even here in Uganda and many other parts of the continent. We appreciate that contribution and partnership. Thank you so much. Next in the conversation is Ronald Kimtai. Let us get Ronald. Ronald, I would like to request you to make a short introduction of yourself and also of the institution, and thereafter explore for us the opportunities that you see emerging at the interface of the civil society and global health security agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening all. I think I will this time possible because time has really gone. My name is Ronald Kimtai, the CEO of Environment Institute of Kenya. A brief introduction about EIK. EIK is a professional body founded to regulate the conduct and the professionalism of environmentalists. Under the registration categories, we register a number of environmental experts, being the lead experts, being the associate experts, as well as the corporate, that is the firm of experts. Field of expertise, we draw these experts from a number of fields, being environmental related, that is one, either environmental health, planning, engineering, earth and physical sciences, as well as the ecology. In terms of the collaboration, we have a working mechanism with the relevant stakeholders in the field of environment and related sectors, including health. That is the reason why EIK is in this workshop. Key pillars that enhances the operation of EIK are the capacity building, where we roll out, we've been carrying out the trainings and webinars on topical issues. And also we've been attending, the members of EIK has been attending the AFROHUN ECO webinars where they draw the CBD points. So in terms of collaboration with AFROHUN, that one is already with EIK. Number two is a dissemination. That is, we do the dissemination in terms of the newsletters, press releases, as where we collaborated with AFROHUN and other stakeholders to come up with a short course on frontline health workers. Partnership, we partner with the academia, that is including the training institutions, government regulators, professional bodies, civil societies, as well as the county government. On question number two, the partnership opportunities at the interface between the civil society and academia. Working with the civil society has become an important strategy in academia to fulfill specific agenda. But this wall of government approach remains inside the government and administration and often does not reach civil society and the world of the CSOs. So I've identified a number of benefits on how, if you have the interface between the academia and the civil society, how can we benefit with them? One is to open the knowledge coming from the field, that is through empowerment opportunities, adopt new strategy, adopt new research methodologies to gear towards attraction of the funding as well as the development of the knowledge, engage in research on contemporary issues that have the potential to influence both policy and development practice, being the political context, as finally impart new insights to students through teaching, where we do the knowledge extension. To add on that, in the context of Africa, there is need to adopt an integrated approach to promoting the development of indigenous scholars, knowledge and teaching. This may include promoting mother tongue scholars, as well as providing the mother tongue higher education to help the young generation develop a sense of respect and learn from indigenous knowledge. And on that, finally, is through collection and documenting indigenous knowledge, thereby giving it a higher level of quality and sophistication.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
In extension of that question, I think that question was having two sections. Yes. And how should this partnership be nurtured to improve global health security?
Yes.
Where we do the research, we do the community service, as well as we do the teaching, where we establish the centrality of teaching and the teachers, where education argues for the centrality of learning and the learner.
I would like to request to stop it there. Thank you so much, Ronald. Our time is really fast spent. I would like now to request finally Marilyn Crane is a senior advisor from the USAID and has been definitely here with us. You already know. So Marilyn, come on board and kindly clarify a little bit more to the partners and the consortium, the relevancy of these university networks in the agenda of global health security, and also how you see the nurturing of these alliances going forward in the engagement of the development agencies. Thank you. Welcome, Marilyn.
Thank you, Professor Kabasa. It's so good to see you. So I know we're short on time, so I'll try to be pretty quick. So to become relevant to the global development, I think the network should focus on connecting with national and local governments, as well as the private sector, to understand their workforce needs and to position themselves as the expert or resource on One Health workforce. So the idea is the network should define and understand their unique value proposition and learn how to communicate this to become a One Health resource for not only the global development community, but local communities. It's the network's unique ties to students and local communities, as well as their access to faculty expertise, which make them particularly relevant to the global development community. And so I think this uniqueness should be at the core of any value proposition. The university networks also have access to a great deal of untapped knowledge and data. So I would encourage them to think strategically about how to share and disseminate this information, even going so far as to create a communication strategy around raising visibility on this untapped knowledge and data. Many of the systems, tools, and products being launched this year by the project in AFROHUN are of great interest to the development community. Just, off the top of my head, the AFROHUN One Health Workforce Academy and the One Health certificate process. I would encourage you to engage development partners in a dialogue on these tools and how they might leverage them, or even potentially buy into them. Also think about creating informal partnerships with the global development community. Invite the private sector and others to activities, even if it's only to familiarize them with the networks and sensitize them to the One Health concept. Help them understand the value of One Health training and the type of worker that is being created. Finally, I think a missed opportunity has been the One Health alumni. Think about building on the alumni tracking activities that are in process. your students and the graduates of One Health training are very much a part of the development community and untapped champions of your programming. So, you know, in addition, once you have more data on the alumni and where they are, having this data on hand will help solidify kind of the unsung impact of the networks on shaping the development community's workforces. So really focus on defining and communicating the network's core value proposition and building on those strengths. And so I realize we're out of time. So I'll just keep this next one on how building alliances between higher education institution and development agencies a bit brief. I think really what I would like to encourage you to do is to approach development agencies as true partners and not simply as sources or potential sources of revenue. Do kind of what you're doing today, but more so, right? Invite them to participate in events and activities, to judge student competitions, faculty small grants, consult with them on activity design and implementation from the earliest stages. They'll have insights and questions that will help strengthen your programming and kind of really target it towards the global health security needs. You know, invite them to meetings where you can discuss workforce needs and gaps and engage them as problem solvers. If there are no existing meetings focused on workforce capacity, consider proposing a series of meetings. Also, before you meet with them, learn more about their global health security programming and think strategically about how your programming complements this and how you want to communicate that. And then, you know, make your interest and availability to participate as their partners, even if they're not funding you, known. And, you know, just think about it. At the end of the day, when development agencies and the global development community hear One Health, pandemics, or one workforce preparedness, we want them to be thinking of AFROHUN and its country chapters. So really think about the value proposition and how to communicate it and engage the different stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. Thank you, Ronald, and thank you, Eric, for giving us this interface. I apologize, I had to keep cutting down because the time has run out, but we are very grateful. So I hand over the moderator right away to continue the next phase of this. Okay, so right away now, we proceed to, I would like to invite Professor Mwine, the chair of the summit, to make his remarks and close this function. Professor Mwine, you are most welcome.
Thank you very much, Professor John David Kavasa and team, at all our partners, country managers in all AFROHUN region countries, and of course the faculty and students, and our AFROHUN Secretariat. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to thank you for your indulgence and being with us for this showcase. Your time and contribution to the discussion are adding value to our work. As you could see, really we needed much more time to discuss, debate, and to get more knowledge, and also hear our colleagues what they have been doing. But the country teams have shared with us today is a testimony that even within constraints like those imposed by COVID-19 pandemic, working with others can achieve so much. I thank the staff at the country offices, as well as the Secretariat, for their dedication. Our partners at UC Davis and the entire One Health workforce, Next Generation Consortium, thank you very much for supporting us in this work. After listening to the students and the ideas they have presented to us, I find the future very exciting indeed. The level of innovation the students have displayed is very promising, and we need to mount the necessary support for such students to develop their ideas into projects. We do thank USAID for generously supporting us financially and technically. The support has gone a long way in strengthening AFROHUN network. Marilyn and team, I think you know this. We thank you endlessly. To the UC Davis, led One Health Workforce, Next Generation Consortium, we cannot thank you enough for the technical support. Our new partners on the Stop Spillover project, we pledge our commitment to the successful implementation of the project, and we look forward to celebrating other and future project achievements. With these remarks, allow me to thank you once again for being here with us and wish you a productive rest of the week. And on that note, I close the meeting. Professor Vazeo, CEO, thank you very much. I see you with the team in the office. I can wave to you, colleagues. You may also switch on your videos. I don't know whether Professor Vazeo, you have got your last word that you want to give to members. Please, you may go ahead.
Ken, that was screen you. What's wrong with you? That's cool. What everybody there?
Bye. Marilyn, bye. Sarah, bye. Tere, bye. Jonah, bye. We are going to have cake.
Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Félicitations.
Bye-bye. Congratulations, all of you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much and bye.
Bye-bye.
Close everything.